So here's another question testing for modifiers and something that requires a really deep dig into the meaning once you get down to the last two choices. So the sentence starts with a modifier not trusting themselves to choose from the investment options available. Now this is a present participle modifier form. So we know that when a present participle modifier is put in front of a clause, it's going to modify the noun succeeding it. So it is going to apply to the subject of the following clause. So when we take a vertical scan through the beginning of the answer choices, we see a split between stockbrokers and many people. So this is where we need to check for the application of modifiers. What exactly is the modifier supposed to modify? Who's not trusting themselves to choose from the investment options? Is it the stockbrokers or the people? So obviously A and B don't make sense because it's not the stockbrokers that don't trust themselves. The answer choices C, D, and E read that people are turning to the stockbrokers. So C, D, and E have the right start for the clause. Now, if you look at C, it says many people are turning to the stockbrokers for help from them. They are turning to stockbrokers for help from them. So it's easy to understand that if I say they are turning to stockbrokers for help from them, it is a clear case of redundancy because it's very straightforward to say that they are turning to stockbrokers for help, because if they are turning to stockbrokers, whom else will they need help from? So it's the help from the stockbrokers themselves, isn't it? So this is a clear case of redundancy. C goes off. Now when it comes down to D and E, this is where the real digging has to take place, and this could get really confusing because when you read both of them, they both feel right, but let's work with the differences available and see what we can attack. Now, in D we have they're turning to stockbrokers for help to buy, and in E we have they're turning to stockbrokers for help in buying. And we also have that could have been, that could be. I'll talk about both these things so that you can apply the same concept in some other question as well. So first of all, for help to buy versus for help in buying. Now, in these kind of situations, GMAT always prefers help in buying and not help to buy, even though both these idioms work. And here's my reason for that. So for example, if I say, I want your help to study for the GMAT. And I want your help in studying for the GMAT. Do you think these two sentences mean the same? Again, it might read and feel the same, but actually there is a difference in meaning. See, this is the infinitive form, and infinitive forms generally convey purpose or intent of an action. So this would help answer the question, why exactly do you want my help? Well, to study. So this particular statement will help us get the answer to why the help is needed. But this one is not answering why the help is needed, but with what the help is needed. So I would be asking, what do you need my help with? And the response to that would be, I want your help in studying, because this in studying, this in is a preposition and this studying is a gerund, which is a noun. So we're basically saying that the help is needed in this process, So it helps answer the question with what is the help needed. So in that way, when you look at answer choices D and E, if I go for D, we would answer the question, well, why are people turning to stockbrokers? Because they want help to buy the stocks. And in E, we get the answer to, with what do people need help from stockbrokers? All right. So here is the intent behind the help, and here is the process that needs help with. So when you look at it this way, things start becoming much clearer, because what the modifier already makes us understand is that there is a reason why people are turning to stockbrokers, because they don't trust themselves to choose from the investment options. So the reason why they are turning to stockbrokers is that they don't trust themselves and they need the stockbroker's help for this particular process. So we don't need another intent here. We just need to say that, well, since they don't trust themselves, they want help from the stockbrokers in the process of buying. So in this way, E seems more applicable. All right. But again, this is my take on the meaning, and I hope you understand that. But let's also look at it from the tenses aspect. Could have been versus could be. Now, the word in the non-underlined portion is bought. So here we have could have been bought versus could be bought. The verb could is what is called as a modal verb. Now, it's not necessary that you remember what a modal verb is, but we just need to understand that this is the past form of can, but it doesn't necessarily have to be used only in the past. All right. So it can also be used to talk about possibilities in the future. So if I couple the could with have been and I couple the could with be, this creates some meaning differences. So could have been means that this was a possibility, but didn't happen. But could be means it's possible. So the main difference is that, well, here it's a possibility but didn't happen, but here it's still possible. So for example, we can say you could have been a manager. Now, what does this mean? If I say you could have been a manager, that means you had the possibility to become one, but you are not one. But if I say you could be a manager, what this means is that you still have the potential to become a manager. So let's take back these meanings and try to sort D and E out. So if I say could have been bought, that means there was a possibility to buy directly, but they didn't buy directly, they bought it indirectly. So here it means that they bought it indirectly. That means through the stockbrokers. They bought it indirectly through the stockbrokers. But here it means that they still haven't bought it and they could buy directly. So look at these two meaning differences. So if I say they already bought it indirectly, as D is suggesting, then why are people turning to help for the stockbrokers if they already bought it indirectly, right? If they already bought it through the stockbrokers. But if I say that they could buy directly, but they are turning to help for the stockbrokers because they haven't bought it yet, this makes more sense because they're yet to buy the stocks. There is a possibility that could buy it directly, but they are turning to the stockbrokers for the help in buying these stocks. So that's exactly what the meaning difference between the two is. And this is the reason why D does not work. E will be your right answer. So the usage of these modal verbs as a helping verb with this have been or be makes a significant impact in meaning. And that is exactly why I gave you simple examples to relate to this concept. So please keep this in mind. Have a second or a third look at this to make sure that you exactly know how D is being eliminated.